उन्होंने साफ तौर पर कहा,
well, the commissioning that has been done, it's a proud moment for India. Colonel S Dinny and Major General GD Bakshi sir with us here on the broadcast. Colonel Dinny, good morning to you, sir. At 262 meters long, 62 meters wide, INS Vikrant is the largest warship to be built in India, sir. How proud it has made our nation.
There comes, moments in history of our country wherein we are proud of our armed forces, of our scientists, of our engineers, of our workers, and last but not the least, of the political leadership together. And I think today gives us one such occasion where we can be really proud of all the people whom I had mentioned. And I think it's really a moment for each of us Indians to be really proud of it. And I think INS Vikrant will stand out as one of the landmarks in which, as far as the maritime domination of India also, from here on, how it will go ahead.
Absolutely. Bakshi sir, the Prime Minister said that it is like a floating city. Now, INS Vikrant, how do you believe will be contributing to ensure peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific and in the Indian Ocean region, sir?
Optimally, India needs 3 aircraft carriers. We had the Vikramaditya earlier, which was modified for us by the Russians from an old Russian aircraft carrier design. It had its teething problems. This one has been designed. The Design Bureau started work on it in 1999, and today, after 4 sea trials, it is entering the Navy in a very proud manner. 37,500 tons displacement. It is a stow-bar carrier. That means it's a takeoff with arrested wires, which sort of help the aircraft to operate from here. It's got 26 MiG-29s on board. It has got the advanced light helicopters, the Kama 4 helicopters, and the new American MH-60 helicopters, 4 of them, for anti-submarine warfare and early warning roles, SAR, etc. It is a very powerful platform. Now we have one carrier for each of our seaboards, western seaboard, eastern seaboard. Like I said, we need optimally a 3rd carrier so that when one of them is on dry dock or rest and refit or maintenance, we have 2 carriers on station at all times. So this is a very significant development in the field of Atmanirbharta. There are just about 7 countries in the world that can make aircraft carriers, and India has just joined that select league. This is a very powerful platform, and like I said, this will really add to the power of the Indian Navy and the reach of the Indian Navy. 7,500 nautical miles it can go without any refueling, etc. And the simple fact is that the Indian Navy is now building and not buying a navy. Our threats on the high seas are increasing very dramatically. The Chinese Navy today at 380 ships is the largest navy in the world. It has overtaken the United States in the number of ships.
Absolutely.
It has now got 2 aircraft carriers. It's working on the 3rd, and it plans to have 5 or 6. So the threat is there for us, made out absolutely cut and dried. We have to respond, and I think we will have to enhance our defense budget, seeing what is happening in Ukraine, seeing what is happening in Taiwan. There is simply no getting away from this. This is not an era in which we can pinch pennies. We will pinch pennies only at our own peril. The nations the world over are enhancing their defense budget, and we will have to keep pace with the profile of threats.
Absolutely, sir, because Colonel Dinny, what General Bakshi sir is pointing out, especially looking at the Indian Ocean region and aircraft landing trials, we are told on board the INS Vikrant will be beginning soon. But when it comes to the security concerns in the Indo-Pacific region and the Indian Ocean has been long ignored, sir. Do you believe that this is a major defense priority of the country now?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I believe that this particular, operation or making, commissioning INS Vikrant is part of reclaiming India's sphere of influence. Now, India's sphere of influence has been traditionally the Indian Ocean region, and I think even the Prime Minister alluded to it, that whenever Indians dominated the maritime area, India did well. When even in the ancient times or in that period, we see that whenever we dominated the seas, India did well. And whenever we were weak in the maritime domain, we were dominated. So I think India is now coming back into that era, wherein we are once again reclaiming our area of influence, and which even the previous Prime Minister Manmohan Singh also had said that we are the net security provider as far as the Indian Ocean region are concerned. Now, just to say that we are the net security provider is of no use unless we have the capability. And today, INS Vikrant gives you that capability. I completely agree with General Bakshi when he says that there is a requirement of 3 aircraft carriers. I know there are debates about whether aircraft carrier is good enough, and the debates are there. That thing notwithstanding, the Navy, when it started, they wanted 4 aircraft carriers, but I think minimum of 3 is the bare requirement. And after that, only we will be able to dominate this entire Indian Ocean region. Just now, a few days back, we saw what Chinese Navy and the kind of activities they are doing. So once we have this capability, we can dominate the sea lanes of communication where China has a vulnerability. No matter how many ships he is able to construct, right, he cannot change the geography. So geography is in our advantage, and therefore we, by making our Navy stronger, I think we will be able to challenge the might of China as well.
I think General Bakshi sir, would you want to elaborate on that point? Because if China wants to, dominate when it comes to the Himalayan region, can India dominate the seas there, sir? Because we've recently seen how China, in a way, was rapid with the way India responded to its spy ship that was actually allowed to port in the Sri Lankan port area, sir, and how Chinese ambassador responded, and India also gave back a befitting reply. So when it comes to the adversary, sir, the message that it gives out, General Bakshi.
Look, the message it gives out is very simple. Don't mess with us. In terms of geostrategy and geography, the peninsular India juts out into the Indian Ocean like an unsinkable aircraft carrier, right? Our very situation astride the primary sea lanes of supply, the SLOCs as they are called, sea lanes of lines of communication, on which the entire oil of China, the bulk of it that comes from the Middle East, goes just south below the 10-degree channel, passes through the choke point of the Straits of Malacca, Sunda and the Lombok Straits, and then it goes up north towards China. So India sits astride the sea lanes of the Chinese. Their entire ocean-based commerce, their bulk of their energy trade passes just below the Indian peninsula. As such, as however many be the number of ships they may have, as Colonel Kini pointed out, I'm saying that we are in a position to choke their energy supplies in any conflict. We are in a position to choke the choke points at the Malacca and constrict any passage for Chinese ships. The Chinese know this, and that is why they are trying to enhance their number of aircraft carriers. They are trying to build bypasses to the Malacca Straits. They are trying to build storage